Welcome to the Drone Program Flight Plan, where educators and industry leaders discuss how to plan, launch, and grow high school drone programs that prepare students to prepare professional pilots. I'm your host, Wayne Bailey from Blue Ridge Mountain Drones, and our guest today is Dr. David Barber, Director of K-12 Drone Pilot Programs with Blue Ridge Mountain Drones Education. Welcome. Today we're discussing how drone piloting education can prepare students for careers in aviation, public safety, mapping, construction, agriculture, and other rapid developing industries. He's an educator and advocate for career-focused drone education. David, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Wayne. I'm glad to be here. I'm excited to discuss opportunities that drone piloting education can provide students and teachers.
All right, let's get to our first question. Dr. Barber, why should schools consider adding drone piloting programs to their educational offerings?
Well, drone piloting brings several academic subjects together in one practical learning environment. We always hear STEM education. A lot of people use drones to kick off with STEM, and it certainly does that, science, technology, engineering, and math. But it also involves geography and aviation and certainly communication skills, which are very important, all while completing real-world missions. See, drone piloting education also introduces students to careers that they may not otherwise even encounter. These include jobs in aviation and public safety and GIS and construction, agriculture, infrastructure, inspection, photography, emergency management. The objective isn't simply to teach students how to fly, which they certainly are going to do that, is to help them use this technology safely, responsibly to solve problems. And the world has lots of problems to solve.
How do you see piloting programs fit into a career in technical education?
Drone piloting it's a natural fit for CTE. CTE is all about providing the opportunity for students to learn something that they can leave school immediately with a job opportunity. These programs here are great because they combine the classroom instruction with practical skills, with earning credentials that they can prove to employers that they have these skills, and career exploration so they see whether they even like that career. Students can study for the FAA regulations and then apply that knowledge during flight operations, but they can also conduct mapping missions. They can process the images. They can evaluate the results. They can present a professional report to the customer. If you do all kinds of things, if you can't provide it to the customer for value, it has little value. It's the complete process that develops technical knowledge, teamwork, critical thinking, communications, and accountability. So it's a great program for CTE.
Wow. Well, there's one credential that we frequently discuss is the FAA Part 107 Remote Pilot Certificate. Why is this valuable for students?
Well, really, when I was talking with the North Carolina Department of Transportation, who manages drone trafficking in North Carolina, one of the things they said was, if you have that Part 107, you are golden. Okay, that is the key. That's the gatekeeper. It allows individuals to operate drones for work or for business or education or even other non-recreational purposes. Now, students must be 16 to earn the credential, but they can test at 14. The knowledge exam includes FAA regulations, airspace, weather, sectional charts, airport operations, aircraft performance, emergency procedures, risk management. Earning the Part 107 before graduation can distinguish a student when applying for employment, or going to college, or military service, or even adding them to additional technical training. It is a great thing to as a gateway into this field of aviation.
What component should be included in a high school quality drone piloting pathway?
Well, the pathway, first of all, the 107 is mostly about safety, right? It's about learning safety because you're trying to share this airspace with many others. And so therefore safety is the most important thing. But it should begin with safety and then basic flight, aircraft systems, which means more than just the drone. It's the controller, it's everything, the software, it's everything's part of the system. And it's also about responsible operations. Students can, once you do that, once you establish those things, then that helps students can progress. They can progress into the Part 107 preparation. They can, again, as we said before, learn about airspace and weather and mission planning and risk assessment. They can learn visual observer responsibilities, which are also jobs out there for visual observers. They can learn aerial photography and video, which we call the low-hanging fruit of this business. You know, you can be a kid with a drone and get a company to pay you to take some photos of a land and make money. And I know kids that are doing that, right, while they're still in high school. You know, you can do GIS, like ArcGIS, and go into that big field of that and do a lot of aerial mapping. You can work with fire departments and others in thermal imaging applications. You can do public safety operations. I know police officers are flying drones today for accident reconstruction or even to clear rooms from predators. You can also be involved in drone program administration. We were working with a company, Zipline, and they say they have like one pilot for 20 drones. And they said our main emphasis is not whether you can fly the drone, it's can you administer the program? You know, the safety, the weather, the mapping, the planning. That's also an important part. So students can do that too. And so that's part of the program they should teach it. So students should complete practical projects and they should build these portfolios so they can demonstrate their knowledge and skills to potential employers.
Just like someone doing a modeling career, they need to have a portfolio to be able to show, you know, what they're made of.
That's really true in any field, isn't it, Wayne? That's true in any field. I mean, you need to have evidence. You can't just talk. People can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? Can you demonstrate those things? And that's why those portfolios are so important.
Well, you know, some educators believe they got to have an expensive fleet to be able to get started. What do you think about this? Is it true?
No, not at all. Matter of fact, I've got several white papers that I've got done on their website. If you go to dronepilotsforus.com, you can go under strategic planning, you'll find white papers. And we've done a number of white papers because people need to know. Wayne and I was talking with, you know, Wayne, we were talking to a teacher who had been given a considerable amount of grant funding and was going to go out and buy like a $10,000 drone for his class of brand new. There's no reason for that at all. That is a huge waste of money. Matter of fact, it's dangerous to put that type of tool. It's like putting a automated rifle in the hands of a novice that doesn't know how to basic fire anything. So no, a program can begin with just a few affordable drones. You know, a simulator, safety equipment, and have a suitable flight area. You know, see, schools need to have curriculum. They need to develop safety procedures, instructional objectives, equipment management plan. You know, what type of equipment do you have? How are you going to maintain that equipment? They need specialized aircraft and sensors as they grow their program. So if you're not planning on doing mapping, you don't need a mapping drone, right? If you're only going to do basic flight, you need basic flight drones. And our website, again, we list that, what type of drones you should be purchasing for those type of things. And if you're doing some basic flight, you know, that's what if you're looking for industry drones, there's some good industry drones out there that are in there. I would put a caveat that understand if you're using federal dollars, you cannot buy DJI drones because federal dollars are illegal. But some states and some local municipalities still allow you to do that and spend their money. And again, if you go to our website, again, Wayne, our white paper goes through and gives you the list of all the states that currently have requirements that you cannot spend. So again, we try to help you out. But no, the goal is to build a sustainable program. Instead of purchasing equipment without long-term instructional plans, you can honestly build a good drone program for less than $10,000. I mean, a good drone program for less than $10,000. Now, you got to get people trained. Training costs money. You know, those things. So most times, sometimes you have to buy curriculum. A lot of our curriculum, we give it away because we know the danger of that. But there are other expenses. But as far as equipment is concerned, you can spend less than $10,000 and have all the equipment you need for a really good drone program.
Yeah, that reminds me of buying the expensive equipment. It'd be like the school buying Cadillac Escalades to do driver training, right?
Right. It'll do the job, but do you really need that?
In style. What safety measures should be included in all this?
Well, schools need written operating procedures. Again, I keep reminding you, go back to our website. We provide this information to you so that you can go out there and find it on your own. Because we know a little podcast is not going to give you everything you need. So if you go to our website, dronepilotsforus.com, look under strategic planning, we tell you the steps you need to go through step by step on how to build your drone program. But schools need to have operating procedures. They need to have pre-flight and post-flight inspections. They need to have battery handling. Lithium batteries are bombs. That's why you can't carry them on planes without special notifications. You can have weather and airspace checks because, the airspace, like today, we have tremendous thunderstorms going to roll through. It looks fine right now, but we know they're coming. So you have to plan ahead. Student supervision. You can't just leave the kids out there with a drone. And matter of fact, you can't legally do that either. That's why we emphasize that they should be trust certified, and you can look about that yourself. But there's things you need to know. Flight area. You need to have a controlled area for flight, marked out with cones and stuff like that. You need emergency procedures. Why do you need emergency procedure on a drone? Because there's such a thing as flyaways. And flyaways happen. And so you need to have those. You need maintenance and flight records. You've got to maintain your records, especially if you're the teacher, because you're a certified pilot. Certified pilots have to maintain their records. So that's important. And then, of course, privacy and responsible data collection. The world we live in today, privacy is a big factor. So you have to have those policies in place. Why we emphasize the drone policy for your schools is so important. We were talking to an educator yesterday and going through a lot of details, and she said, wow, I didn't realize there was all this stuff. No, because most people don't do what they need to do, and then they get in trouble for it. So, that's why it's important to have these procedures in advance, Now, as you go through, of course, students should rotate through professional crew positions, including remote pilot, visual observer, safety officer, data specialist. Just remember this, that safety must be treated as part of every mission. Not as a separate lesson that students lose. It has to be done every time. Pre-checks, post-checks, safety, safety, safety every time. And that's why those written operating procedures are so important to have.
Yes, not written down, then you really don't have any guidelines. I look at those as guardrails, and that keeps you at least in the middle of the road, maybe not out of a ditch, but it keeps you from jumping over, right? So those are important to be able to have to where people know where to stand. What careers can students explore through these programs?
Well, we mentioned some of them already, right? I mean, drone piloting technology is used in fire and rescue, law enforcement, emergency management, used in search and rescue operations. It's used in surveying and GIS and mapping. It's used in construction and engineering. It's used in agriculture and environmental science. It's used in utility and infrastructure inspection. It's used in real estate and media productions. It's used in robotics and aviation, and it's used in drone program management. I mean, there's lots and lots. The strongest career opportunities often come from combining these skills with other professions. I mean, so if you're an engineer, a construction engineer, and a certified drone pilot, that benefits the company. If you're a fireman, but you're already a certified 107 pilot, that benefits the fire department. If you already have thermal imaging knowledge with the drone, that benefits the fire and emergency management people. See, if you're working for a big agri company, I was talking to a girl that goes to my church who's just graduated from NC State in agribusiness, and she's working for a company, and she's thinking about getting into crop inspections and stuff like that. And one of the things she's looking at is getting her 107 so they can do, because there's a lot of stuff in drones in agriculture. So there's lots of things that can be done. So, students should view drones as a tool that supports larger occupational spaces. Not everyone's going to become a drone pilot full time, but they can use that drone piloting full time in whatever they do, and adds value.
All right. So how can teachers, prepare to deliver this curriculum? What kind of support do they need?
Well, obviously teachers, especially teachers getting started, don't know anything. They need to have more than a curriculum package. They need training. They definitely need a curriculum package, though, right? They need to know what I'm supposed to do. And again, not advertising for ourselves, but I'm saying we believe that's important. So we actually give you curriculum available on our website to do this. That's 90 days of website stuff, and it's every day to tell you what you need to do. The teachers need more than just curriculum. They need training. They need practical experience. They need lesson resources. They need assessments. They need safety guidance. They need continued technical support. That's one thing that we at Blue Ridge Mountain Drones and Drone Pilots for US, that's one thing that we're doing. We support people. People call us all the time, and we don't charge for those services if they ask us a question. Now, if we have to do if we're doing a project for you, it's a different story, but we try to help everybody. That we exercise that train the trainer model, where we help educators understand both the aviational context and the classroom delivery process. Fire Marshal's office in North Carolina says it so well, Wayne. To teach one, you got to be one. So we make sure that the teachers know how to do it themselves and can demonstrate that knowledge, and then we certify them to that, and then they can take that out there. So, teachers should have the opportunity to earn their 107 and relevant micro-credentials. And when teachers feel prepared, they can spend more time helping students succeed and less time trying to worry about their areas of disconnect. And we recognize that. So we know the power in the classroom is the teacher. So we focus on trying to train the teacher.
Well, at Blue Ridge Mountain Drones, we specialize in public safety training, fire, rescue, EMS, law enforcement, federal folks. So how can schools introduce this into their schools? How can they introduce public safety?
Okay, well, students can study how to drone piloting supports research search and rescue, structure fires, hazardous material incident, disaster assessment, emergency mapping. We partner with LAPSN, Law and Public Safety Education Network. Matter of fact, Wayne is the lead pathway specialist for them. So, there's lots of public safety programs out there, lots of people doing public safety. They need to understand, though, that a drone does not replace emergency responders. It provides information that can help the responder make decisions. People worry about drones going to take the place of, no, it's not taking the place of anybody. It's enhancing their capability. It gives these experts a view that they didn't have. It doesn't replace them. It enables it fills up their quiver with more arrows, right? It gives them more tools to do it. So public safety instruction should cover incident command, crew coordination, privacy, risk management, evidence protection, professional standards such as NFPA 2400 that again demonstrates to the employer that the student can fly manually. So, there's lots of things in public safety that the drone program applies to.
I understand. Chief Werner from Drone Responder says it well. He said, it's not set to replace people on the street. It's to be a force multiplier.
Absolutely.
Well, our final question today for you is, when it comes to your advice for educators, what's the most important message you would give an educator considering a drone piloting program?
Well, I'm going to say something my good friend Glenn Barefoot, Skills USA director for many years, passed away this past week. One thing he said was, you need to start with the end in mind. Okay. Start with the end in mind. So you need to start with a clear purpose. Identify what the student should know. What skills should they demonstrate? How the program connects to the credentials and to the career. In the end, our objective at Blue Ridge Mountain Drone Education and Drone Pilots for US is to ensure that the student can come out of high school as a high-quality drone professional. That's what we're trying to do. So we set out that purpose. If your purpose is to be a STEM technology, is to teach them a little about drones along the way, okay, then that's your purpose. But if you're planning on making them professional drone pilots, you need to start out that way. Build your program around those things. Focus on credentials. One of the guy, the former, I don't know if he is still now, but Duke Energy, he was on our board of directors for a while. Garrett Scott said that he talked about what about credentials. He said, we love credentials. It doesn't matter what the credentials. I may not even know what it is. Because what that tells me is that this student is more than just a student that just took their 107. They want it. And if they want it, we can use them. So demonstration, these micro-credentials demonstrate to the employer that these students want to be more than they are. And that's what employers are looking for. They want somebody not to hire them as an visual observer, but they want somebody that can take and become a manager of all these people one day, right? And so it's important to start with the end in mind. We need to teach students to plan missions and evaluate risk and follow regulations and work as a team. Teamwork today is something we're lacking in our society. They need to learn how to collect useful data, not wasted information. Communicate their results. People think that you can fly a drone for an hour. Why? Most of the time, an hour is way too much. I'm telling you what, 15 minutes of flying with a drone is a long time. Okay? It's a long time. There's a ton of data you get with that 15-minute flight, isn't there, Wayne? So many times you don't need to fly for an hour to get the data that you need. Collect the data you need, not just for purpose of flying, but these are important things. Flying attracts students to the program, so you want to do it. And in our curriculum, we fly every day somehow because we know that it keeps the students engaged, especially those that are those type of learners. But problem solving and professionalism and workforce preparation gives the program that lasting value. And that's what it's all about. And so I would encourage you to if you don't have these things set out for you, reach out to us and we'll be glad to help you. Go to our website, again, dronepilotsforus.com, and look at our strategic planning. And if you have questions, email us, ask us questions, set up a time to meet with us. These are the ways that you can build your program. Don't just take some money from a grant and start buying drones, because then you've wasted your money, your students' time. And one thing as an educator, I will tell you, I do not want to waste one single hour of my students' time, because their time is valuable. And so we want to make sure that our drone programs give them the most bang for their buck and not a waste of time, but every minute of it adds value to it.
Well said. Dr. Barber, thank you for joining us today, discussing the future of drone piloting in education. Any last words?
Thank you, Wayne. I think this is great. We look forward to continuing on building our programs up and communicating with people, giving them an opportunity to learn the Drone Program Flight Plan. Yeah, the name of this podcast, the Drone Program Flight Plan, because that's it. It's a plan. You can't, if you don't, what is the old adage? If you don't plan to succeed, you plan to fail. And so we want you to be successful. So we're here to help you plan for success. And so thank you for the opportunities that we have here, Wayne.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. To learn more about drone piloting curriculum, teacher preparation, FAA Part 107 training, or public safety drone programs, contact us here at Blue Ridge Mountain Drones Education, or go to dronepilotsforus.com, where you can find some helpful information, popular teacher resources. Thank you again for listening to the Drone Program Flight Plan podcast. See you next time.